Okay.
Hello and welcome to this Saturday Superfood Social. Today we have Glenneth here, and we have been talking about his story, and I've just been really blown away by his story. So I'm gonna let him take it away. Glenneth, tell us your story about the superfood protocol that you've just been on, and you've been doing it for a little while, and I'm just really amazed at your story. So I'm gonna let you take it away.
Oh, okay. I'd be honored to, and I love sharing this because I learned that, I didn't know I had sleep apnea for a lot of my life, and I don't even know how long I had it. I know I've battled with my weight a lot of my life, keeping that under check. Um, but I've learned that 30% of men and 20% of women have sleep apnea, some degree of sleep apnea. To have it, I think you have to stop breathing. I think it's six times an hour or more to be designated as sleep apnea. I was stopping 21 times an hour, so that's moderate, and that's not, that what that really means is you're not getting down into the deep REM sleep because I didn't even know I was stopping breathing, right? Because you gasp and that alerts your the whole process of sleeping so much that it just takes you back to the beginning because it takes a while to get in the deep REM. So, how I discovered I had it, I was actually working out. I I was living in Santa Rosa. That's where I knew our dear mutual friend Rachel, and I was living there and working and going to the gym regularly. I mean, I really liked, trying to stay healthy. Um, and as I was getting more and more, strength, more you lift up more and more weight, you have to breathe deeper. And I was finding when I was doing that I almost would like gasp or cough, like snore. It's like when I would breathe in, I would go, and I'm going, what is that? Right. So I didn't, that's probably the beginning of when I said, well, I better get this checked out. I had, health insurance at the time, and they wanted to do a sleep study. And that first sleep study is when I learned I had it. My younger brother had it really bad. He had extreme sleep apnea, so it's probably partially in my physiology. But I think having been clear of this now for 9 years, I think really it's related to the muscles in your soft larynx. You
That makes
start to
sense.
get, yeah, and our supranemos is probably the biggest factor in turning that around, besides cleaning and putting in clean food, right? I mean, the first month I did this program, I dropped 25 pounds, and I was working so much. I was just taking the shakes to work and having my one meal, and you know, um, and it seemed easy. I said, "Wow, I'm not hungry, so cool. I'll keep doing this, right?" And I noticed some improvement in my sleep. Like I was finding I could get by with probably an hour less sleep and still feel pretty much the same. So I'm going, okay. I didn't notice a big leap in my energy, but that was good because I did a lot of sleepovers in that work. I was working with developmentally disabled clients. So anyhow, the first month it happens I was scheduled for a follow up sleep study. They like to monitor that to see how you're doing. I hated using the CPAP machine as from my conversations with most people hate that machine, but it can make a huge difference. So anyhow, I did that sleep study. I had dropped 25 pounds that month, and I was right at the end of that month. And anyhow, that they said that I was one breath from normal. And I'm going, what? Right? I mean, I I had dropped the 25 pounds, but really 7.5 inches off my gut. I mean, I had a really large gut. So in 1 month to drop that much, for men, that's where we get cellulite. So that's the stubborn stuff. Some men can get thinner if they have the right diet, but they still have that belly. That's the stubborn hardened fat. So that had improved. I mean, I looked at myself in the mirror at the end of that month and I'm going, my God, it's almost a six pack, right? I said, I don't know. I'm keeping doing whatever this is, right? So in reality, I stayed on the ultimate lifestyle transformation. So for a long time, I was doing 3 shakes a day. I just found it easy and it
Yeah.
worked with my lifestyle. And I
Yeah.
think that made a difference, as well as I would have, the 2 sets of the amino acids, which I think, built the muscles in my, you know, lower larynx or whatever. I think that was a big factor, actually, because I listened to a musician talk about this, and he said he looked at that because he said it's fascinating. He said musicians don't get sleep apnea. He said he did his research and he found that to be true because they use that muscle in
So true.
singing. Yeah,
Wow.
you. So I think that was probably the big factor with probably the supranemos, because it built just enough that muscle
Mhm.
that it stopped flopping down quite so much, right? That's what
That's amazing.
causes it. When that flops down, that's when you stop breathing.
Right.
I mean, that's what's supposed to stop food from going in your lungs, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Wow.
so anyhow, I just continued that, and really, because it was so simple and everything else, I even, and this may have been a big part of my success. I even made a point of 2 to 3 days a week. I would have 3 shakes, 3 amino acids, 3 sets of it, right? Because it was working that good. I just went, what the heck? I'm not that hungry, right? I still love food. And as a matter of fact, I found it wasn't for lack of food, but just the I noticed the flavor of food more. I still really enjoy eating. It's not like I lost the pleasure of eating a regular healthy meal, right? But I just don't need to do that all the time.
You can actually really enjoy food now and like
Yeah,
eat less of and
yeah,
just have something because yeah, you can just enjoy it more because you're getting so nourished. You're
yeah.
not hungry, reaching for something bad all the time. And so what we're talking about here is a 90-day protocol that resets, detoxes, nourishes your body, and helps bring it back to a homeostasis state. And so losing weight, sleep apnea, that's just incredible because I've always known like, or I've always just, I thought a CPAP was just the only way that you can get over that. And it's just a band-aid. So that I just love your story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And I
And
did a lot of research along the way, even before I got the CPAP, because I hate medical treatment and the idea of wearing a mask, right? And that was all the word. It's like, you can't turn this around.
right.
And I mean, when I got on meds, which I was on because I also had hypothyroid, that straightened out by the 5th month. And tests now, as early as 2 years ago, and I've been on it for a while, but showed no incidences of stop breathing and perfect, um, what tests for sleep apnea as well. So, and good quality deep REM. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure how long I had no incidents of breathing, but I suspect it was pretty quick. I mean, as soon as the doctor or the people in the clinic at that initial after 30s sleep study, they learned that I went from 21 to, I think it was 6. They said, whatever you're CPAP. And I said, you mean I can stop the CPAP? I don't have to use that? And they go, well, based on where you're at now in 1 month, they said, just keep doing what you're doing. So I said, oh my God, and I couldn't believe that, being able to, in 1 month, not needing to use that to avoid stopping breathing, right?
So cool. Wow. It really is. Wow. Yeah, that's what's possible with nutrition and it's easy and it's delicious and things will fall away, just extra weight, you'll build muscle. Um, it's just this is an incredible protocol that's really changing lives. And I help people with multiple sclerosis, all sorts of Hashimoto's. We help all sorts of people. And so if one of us sent this video to you, whoever sent this video to you, please reach back out to them because they care about you and they are looking out for you. And this nutrition really is life-changing, and we're happy to go over it with you, exactly what the products are. I'm not going to go into that today. I just wanted to hop on and just have
So can you tell me, and like, because I unfortunately I gotta leave in about 5 minutes. Just a brief synopsis of what happened for you, because I know you
Oh,
had some.
absolutely. Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was diagnosed about 10 years ago with multiple sclerosis, and it affected my vision and my eye at the time. Over the years, I had lots of nerve pain, fatigue, a lot of pain. My thing was the nerve pain, and suffered for about 8 years. And then I found this protocol. My best friend was sharing it with me, and I knew I needed better nutrition. I had stayed away from many meds. I'd stayed off meds. I've been able to manage it, but it was getting out of control, and it was beyond my control getting there. And but I knew I needed better nutrition, and so I just dove into this nutrition. And about 2 years of detoxing and nourishing, and about a year into it, I no longer had any more symptoms. I don't
uh,
really have MS anymore.
so
So
you recovered from MS.
yeah,
That's
I
that's
haven't
huge.
nerve pain. The nerve pain was really bad. I couldn't even stand up at the end of the day in the kitchen. I'd have to bring a chair into the kitchen to cook or do anything. And yeah, it was getting bad. So this nutrition has just changed my life as well.
You know what's amazing? I mean, that in itself, I mean, is a mic drop, right? but but how many of these kind of stories for serious health maladies we've come to just we hear this all the time. I mean, not just MS. I mean, a lot of, I mean, fibromyalgia. I've heard so many. I
Yeah.
mean, really, when I've heard some of these stories, I go, "Oh my God, my sleep apnea and my hypothyroid was minor comparative." It's all relative, of course, but I could function, right? Somehow. But I
Everyone's at a
mean,
different level, or everyone's at a different level with whatever it is. And yeah, it's about detox and nourishing. And it takes everyone kind of a different amount of time, to detox. How long did it take you to get sick? It's going to take a little time to get well too. Yeah.
I don't even know the answer to my personal thing, right? I didn't know I had hypothyroid or sleep apnea until I tested for it, right? Or I did extensive testing based on, a more health oriented doctor, right? I had a couple of good ones.
Mhm.
And a lot of doctors, of course, they don't know that much about nutrition. I think it's getting a little better, at least my experience. Maybe I just got lucky with the doctors, but yeah, most doctors aren't trained in nutrition. I think that they're starting to pick up these skills just because the public's wanting it, right? I mean, most medical treatment is just a band-aid, just like, the meds, whatever. It's like you want to keep staying sick, or do you want to get to the root cause, right?
That's right. We have to get to the root cause. And that's what drove me for 10 years was I have to get to the root cause.
Yeah.
What is the root cause? I don't want a band-aid. I want to get I want to get rid of this. If something created this, something in my body or whatever toxins and all of this was created within me, then there has to be a way to uncreate it. There has to be a way to I don't like to use the word cure, but to get rid of it. So
Well,
to move our
legally we
body.
can't use that word, but when you give the body I love this analogy as well. And then unfortunately I'm gonna have to let you go, but is when you do a simple cut on your hand, what happens? You bleed and your
Yep.
body will heal. You put a band-aid on it and your body takes care of it. The body has that capability. And sadly, these kind of more serious diseases have increased as our food supply has become more and more horrible. I mean, they're not farming the way that they should and used to. Regenerative farming is the modern term, but it was just that's how you used to farm. You rotated crops, you took care of the soil, and that's part of even our climate change is you know a healthy, rich, live soil, which my understanding is that most of the planet, the farms now aren't that, sequesters carbon. And it would only take as little as 16% of the existing farms to become regenerative to sequester all the excess carbon we have right now in
Right.
the environment. So it's like there's a connection to that and what we're doing because this is regenerative farming.
Right.
Um,
So it
so
starts with us. It starts in our homes with our decisions, with what we decide to put in our mouths. It starts with us
Yeah.
and our
So
choice.
cool. Well, I'm glad we connected and got to chat briefly about this. So anyhow, I hate to leave you short, but I'm gonna have to go
Awesome. Thank you so much, Glenneth. You have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody. Reach out to us. Peace out.
as well.
Bye.